melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, and having read all the newspapers and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went home to bed. He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner. They were a gloomy suite of rooms in a lowering pile of buildings up a yard. The building was old enough now and dreary enough where nobody lived in it but Scrooge.
Now it is a fact that there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door of this house, except that it was very large. Also that Scrooge had seen it night and morning during the whole residence in that place. Also that Scrooge had as little of what is called fancy about him as any man in the city of London. And yet Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw not a knocker, but Marley's face.
Marley's face, with a dismal light about it, like a bad lobster in a dark cellar. It was not angry or ferocious, but it looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look. As Scrooge looked fixedly at this phenomenon, it was a knocker again. Scrooge fastened the door and walked across the hall and up the stairs, slowly too, trimming his candle as he went.
Up Scrooge went, not caring a button about it being dark. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge liked that.
He walked through his rooms to see that all was right. Sitting room, bedroom, lumber room, all as they should be. Nobody under the bed. A small fire in the grate, spoon and basin ready, and a little saucepan of gruel upon the hob. His glance happened to rest upon a bell, a disused bell that hung in the room and communicated, for some purpose now forgotten, with a chamber in the highest story of the building. It was with great astonishment and with a strange, inexplicable dread that as he looked, he saw the bell begin to swing. Soon it rang out loudly. So did every bell in the house.
This was succeeded by a clanking noise deep down below, as if some person was dragging a heavy chain over the cask in the wine merchant's cellar. Then he heard the noise much louder on the floors below. And then coming up the stairs. Then coming straight toward his door.
It came on through the heavy door, and a specter passed into the room before his eyes. And upon its coming in, the dying flame leaped up as though it cried, "I know him, Marley's ghost."
The same face, the very same, but his body was transparent. Scrooge had often said that Marley had no bowels, but he never believed it until now.
No, nor did he believe it even now, though he looked the phantom through and through and saw it standing before him, though he felt the chilling influence of its death-cold eyes, and noticed the very texture of the folded kerchief bound about his head and chin, he was still incredulous.
How now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Do it then.
You don't believe in me.
I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. Oh, you might be a bit of undigested beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. No, there's more of gravy than grave about you, whatever you are.
Scrooge was not much in the habit of cracking jokes, nor did he feel in his heart by any means waggish then. The truth is, he tried to be smart as a means of distraction his own attention and keeping down his horror. But how much greater was his horror when, the phantom taking off the bandage around its head, its lower jaw dropped on its best.
Dreadful apparition! Why do you trouble me? Why do spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me?
It is required that every man take the spirit within him and walk abroad among his fellow men, and travel far and wide. And if it does not do so in life, it is condemned to do so after death.
7 years dead? Traveling all the time? You travel fast?
On the wings of the wind.
You might have got over a great quantity of ground in 7 years.
No blind man, not to know that ages of incessant labor by immortal creatures for this earth must pass into eternity before the good of which it is susceptible is all developed. Not to know that any Christian spirit, working kindly in its little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one life's opportunities misused. Yet, I was like that man. I once was like that man.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Business! Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Generosity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business.
Scrooge was very much dismayed to hear the specter going on at this rate, and began to quake exceedingly.
Hear me, my time is almost gone.
I will, but don't be hard on me. Don't be flowery, Jacob. Pray.
I have come tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope of my procurement, Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend to me, thank you.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob? I think I'd rather not.
Without that visit, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow night when the clock strikes 12. The second on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more, and look that for your own sake you remember what has passed between us.
It walked backward from him, and at every step it took, the window raised itself a little. So when the apparition reached it, it was wide open. The phantom floated out into the night.